What if I told you that deep inside you in every cell lies a memory of encounters long forgotten? A story not written in books, but in your very DNA. Tens of thousands of years ago, we were not alone. The world was home to many species of humans, Homo sapiens, Neanderthals, Denisovans, and perhaps others we've yet to discover. We shared the same forests, rivers, and caves. And sometimes we shared much more. Scientists have discovered that these early humans didn't just coexist, they interbred. That means a part of you today may carry fragments of Neanderthal or Denisovan DNA, passed quietly through thousands of generations, shaping the way you look, think, and even respond to the world around you. Tonight, we're going to drift back. Back to an ancient world, where survival depended on the land, the climate, and sometimes unlikely alliances. We'll explore how these encounters happened, what life was like in the Ice Age, and why the traces of those meetings are still with us, hidden beneath the surface, carried in silence for tens of thousands of years. So, take a deep breath, and let's step back in time together. Imagine standing beneath a pale Ice Age sky. The air is sharp, carrying the scent of pine and melting snow. Around you, the land stretches wide, forests, rivers, and plains where mammoths graze in the distance. This was Earth about 50,000 years ago, and it was a very different place. You are part of a small group of early Homo sapiens, traveling together across the wild terrain. Your life depends on constant movement. Food is scarce. Shelter must be found before nightfall. Each day begins before the sun rises, as soft frost crunches beneath bare feet and the mist drifts low across the ground. In the distance, another group watches you from the trees. They are Neanderthals, shorter, broader, with powerful limbs built for cold climates. Their faces are different, their skulls slightly larger, but their eyes are familiar. They too are human. For thousands of years, our ancestors lived side by side with these other species, sometimes competing for the same resources, sometimes avoiding one another, and at unexpected moments, coming together. It's quiet here, except for the soft rustle of wind against grass and the distant call of a bird overhead. Yet beneath this silence, something monumental is unfolding, the slow weaving of genetic threads that would shape humanity forever. When two worlds met, Homo sapiens and Neanderthals, they didn't just exchange tools or hunting techniques. They exchanged something far deeper, pieces of themselves. Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine a single thread, delicate, invisible, and unimaginably old, stretching back through time. That thread lives inside you, inside all of us. It carries the silent memory of encounters that took place tens of thousands of years ago, long before names, borders, or civilizations existed. For centuries, we believed that Homo sapiens, us, were unique, separate, untouched by other species. The story was simple. We evolved in Africa, spread across the world, and replaced the humans who came before us. That's what textbooks said. That's what scientists thought they knew. But then, everything changed. In 2010, researchers analyzed tiny fragments of fossilized bone from a cave in Siberia, the Denisova cave. They expected to confirm that the bone belonged to a Neanderthal. Instead, what they found rewrote human history. Inside that ancient fragment was DNA, preserved for over 40,000 years. And it didn't match Homo sapiens. It didn't match Neanderthals either. It belonged to an entirely different species of human, the Denisovans. Even more surprising, when scientists compared Denisovan DNA to living people today, they discovered something astonishing. Traces of Denisovan genes still exist in many of us. Populations in Asia, Australia, and the Pacific Islands carry up to 5% Denisovan DNA, quiet whispers from encounters that took place in the distant past. And it didn't stop there. Around the same time, studies confirmed that Neanderthal DNA is present in almost everyone outside of Africa, usually between 1% and 2%. That means, if you look around a crowded street today, Nearly every person carries echoes of a species that vanished over 40,000 years ago. But this wasn't just about random encounters. The evidence suggests long-term relationships, complex social interactions, and shared survival strategies. Our ancestors met, talked, traded, and sometimes stayed together. Over generations, the boundaries between species blurred. Think about that for a moment. When you take a deep breath tonight, the shape of your lungs, the way your immune system responds, even the thickness of your skin in colder weather, may be influenced by genes you inherited from species that no longer exist. Even more haunting is this. Some genetic traits we carry from Neanderthals and Denisovans may have been the reason we survived. Certain Neanderthal genes improve our immune system, helping us fight off ancient pathogens. Others affect how we process sunlight, adapt to altitude, and even regulate sleep. Some Denisovan genes give populations in the Himalayas the ability to breathe at extreme altitudes, a gift from a people who disappeared thousands of years ago. Our ancestors were not isolated travelers in an empty world. They were part of a complex human ecosystem, one where species met and influenced one another in ways we were only beginning to understand. Now, science is revealing something profound. We are not purely Homo sapiens. We are hybrids, living mosaics. Each of us carries fragments of stories older than civilization itself, etched permanently into our biology. The past is alive within you, even if you cannot see it. And yet, the deeper scientists dig, the more questions they uncover. Because it turns out, Neanderthals and Denisovans might not have been the only ones. There may have been other, unknown human species that we met, lived alongside and loved, species whose entire existence has vanished except for faint traces buried in our DNA. This mystery takes us even deeper, into caves, ancient tools, and fossil fragments, where clues to these lost encounters are still being uncovered. Imagine standing deep inside a cave. The air is cool, damp, and utterly still. Your footsteps echo softly against walls carved by time itself. This is where scientists search for answers, in places where light hasn't touched for tens of thousands of years. Every fragment of bone, every worn tool, every trace of ash tells a story about our ancestors and the other humans who walked the earth beside them. But the deeper scientists dig, the more complicated the story becomes, and the more it begins to feel like a mystery without end. We already know about Neanderthals and Denisovans, but genetic evidence hints at something far stranger. When researchers sequenced the DNA from Denisovan fossils, they found unexpected traces, tiny fragments from an entirely unknown species of ancient human. We don't know their name. We don't know what they looked like. We don't know where they lived. But we know they existed, because they left their mark on the Denisovans, and through them, on us. Some scientists call them ghost populations. These are humans who vanished without leaving behind fossil evidence, yet whose genes still flow silently through our veins. Think about that. There may have been entire species, entire worlds of culture, survival, and family that we will never see except in the fragments they left inside our DNA. And then there's the puzzle of our shared tools and traditions. In caves across Europe and Asia, archaeologists have discovered ancient tools, carvings, and ornaments. Some were made by Neanderthals, some by Homo sapiens, and others, we're not sure. There are beads carefully shaped from shells, patterns etched into stone, and pigments used to paint cave walls. It seems there was contact, not just conflict. Ideas moved from one species to another. A Neanderthal tool here, a Homo sapiens carving there, evidence of cooperation and exchange. In some places, their camps even overlapped, suggesting they lived side by side, perhaps teaching one another, learning together, and sharing food under the same starry skies. And yet, something happened. Around 40,000 years ago, the Neanderthals disappeared. A little later, the Denisovans vanished too. And still, we survived. Why? Some scientists believe it was adaptation, that our brains allowed us to communicate and organize in ways they could not. Others argue it was climate change, a slow reshaping of the world that they could not endure. And there are theories, too, that disease played a role, that pathogens carried by our ancestors may have devastated the populations they encountered. But no single explanation fits. It's possible that a mix of all these forces, environment, biology, and chance, shaped the fate of our distant relatives. And so their stories ended. But echoes of them live on, stitched quietly into us. Every heartbeat, every breath, carries the memory of countless lost generations. And yet, the story isn't finished. New caves are being explored. New DNA samples are being analyzed. And with each discovery, the mystery deepens. How many other species did we meet? How many names have been erased from history? And how much of them still lingers inside you? The answers may lie just beneath our feet, buried in sediments, frozen in ice, or locked deep within the walls of ancient caves. Close your eyes for a moment. Feel the quiet rhythm of your own breathing. Beneath everything that makes you you, your thoughts, your memories, your identity, there's something even older. The story of survival written in your DNA. When scientists mapped the human genome, they discovered something extraordinary. Inside your body are ancient signatures, fragments of genes inherited from Neanderthals, Denisovans, and perhaps even unknown species we haven't yet named. Every heartbeat carries traces of them. Every strand of hair, every cell, is a living archive of a journey that began hundreds of thousands of years ago. And here's the remarkable part. These ancient genes aren't just sitting there dormant. They shape you, subtly, silently, constantly. If you have European or Asian ancestry, there's a chance that 1 to 2% of your DNA comes from Neanderthals. In parts of Southeast Asia and Oceania, some people carry up to 5% Denisovan DNA. But it's not just about where your ancestors came from. It's about how these genes affect your life right now. Some Neanderthal genes affect your immune system, helping you fight infections your Homo sapiens ancestors had never encountered. Others influence skin color and hair texture, adaptations to the changing climates our ancestors braved. And then, there's something even more surprising. Neanderthal DNA has been linked to how you sleep. Genes from these ancient relatives can affect your circadian rhythms, your body's natural clock. Some people inherited traits that made them better suited to long winter nights or bright summer days. Even your mood and emotional responses may still carry echoes of ancient environments, where survival required constant awareness of danger, from the strength of your bones, to your body's response to sunlight, to the way your brain processes stress. You are, in part, a mosaic, the result of countless ancient experiments in survival. But there's another layer to this story. While some genes helped us adapt, others came with hidden costs. Neanderthal DNA has been linked to autoimmune disorders, certain allergies, and even increased risk of depression in some individuals. It's as if the evolutionary advantages of the past still leave faint ripples of struggle in the present. And yet, here you are, breathing, thinking, dreaming, a living testament to every life that came before you. The Neanderthals vanished, the Denisovans disappeared. Dozens of other unknown human species walked into silence, but fragments of them, the whispers of their existence, endure in you. The next time you look at your hands, your reflection, or even the stars above, remember this: you are the sum of many worlds. Inside you, there are thousands of generations, each facing storms, hunger, migrations, and endless nights. Their victories became your birthright. Their endurance became your existence. And now, you breathe for them. As we close this journey, let yourself feel the quiet comfort of connection, across time, across species, across the unbroken chain of survival that carried you here. The story isn't finished. Even now, scientists are uncovering new secrets, rewriting the past with every fragment of bone and every sequence of DNA. But one truth remains: you are ancient, you are extraordinary, you are all of them, and yet uniquely yourself. So as you drift into rest tonight, know that you're part of something far bigger, far older, and far more beautiful than you might have ever imagined. Sleep softly, knowing the echoes of your ancestors are still here, carried in every heartbeat.